And another thing, who the hell is Will Wheaton? But Will Wheaton is the only thing I think about while I'm sleeping. We are back with this Buick. Last time I was here, we put that lower control arm on it to hopefully relieve the owner of her noise that she was hearing, like a creaking noise whenever she turned the steering wheel. Well, needless to say, the very next day, she said the noise is still there. So it's back for stabilizer links, air filter, cabin air filter, serpentine belt, and a transmission cooler line. It's seeping fluid out. So anyways, she said the noise has gotten worse. So let's see if we can listen to it. We're just sitting here in the garage. I can definitely hear it, and hopefully you guys can too. So that's the complaint. That's the noise that the owner is hearing. Since we saw that the shop that recently put the stabilizer links on it did not put the Zerk fittings on, and it allowed water and debris to get into the joint, and I got my money on that. That's what's causing the noise. So I guess we'll find out after we change the stabilizer links. But the first thing I want to start with is the cabin air filter. She said she's taking it to like these quick oil change places, and every time she asks about the cabin air filter, they say either her car doesn't have one or it's too difficult to get to, so the glove box has to come off to get to it on this car. So let's start with that. As you can see, I got the whole glove box removed. Only took like a minute or two. And here goes our cabin air filter. It's gonna be right here. Now the woman has no knowledge of if or when it's ever been changed. She said she doesn't think it's ever been changed, and this is a 2014 model. So we're about to find out if there's some sort of a science experiment going on inside of here. Trying to not break these delicate little tabs. I'm already seeing debris and dead bugs. And as you can see, it says GM on it. So there is a high chance that this is the original filter from 2014. And guys, it's currently 2023. Yeah, this is pretty nasty. It's not the worst I've seen. I've seen a lot worse in cars. But if we look between the pleats, let me turn the light on for you. There's a good amount of dirt, dust, debris inside of here. Yeah, so honestly, this is not super bad. Like I said, I've seen a lot worse, but you definitely don't want to be breathing in this air every time you turn on your heat or your AC. Here we have the two filters side by side. So let's go ahead, pop in a new one and wrap this job up. So the cabin air filter is all done. Let's move on to the regular air filter. And now, like I said, I have to replace the belt, but from the looks of it, you can't really do much from up here. It looks like I'm gonna have to go through the wheel well to get to that belt. So I'll deal with that once I take the wheels off to do the stabilizer links. So I think it's okay to change out the filter right now. So these torque screws on the airbox appears to be a T25. I'm going to be using the Milwaukee screwdriver here. It's a Torx, and as you can see, it has all different sizes already integrated into a tool. Had this for years. You know, guys, I haven't been feeling well lately. Last week, I got pretty sick with like a fever, coughing, nausea, and I'm pretty sure I got that from my son, because he came over just a few days before I got sick, and he pretty much had the same exact symptoms. So whatever he had, he passed it on to me. But that was like a week ago. Today, I woke up and I was not feeling good. My body was aching, like if I just hit the gym, but I'm not getting any gains out of it. um, More fever and a little bit of nausea. So I don't know, guys. I don't know what's going on with me. Maybe I'm pregnant. Who freaking knows? It's 2023. Anything is possible, right? Don't know. Anyways, we are just about done, I think. Don't see any more screws holding this thing. I think the air intake tube has to be separated because it's got a hinge on this side, so it would appear that it has to hinge up like this, meaning the air intake tube does have to come off. Got my Carlisle screwdriver, flathead. Been having this one for years also. You can see how beat up it is. I really like these screwdrivers. It's just the handle. The handle feels great on them. And to me, they kind of feel, I know it's not like Snap-on, but I mean, it has that same quality, like you could get a really good grip on it, but without paying Snap-on prices. I'm not saying this is on par with Snap-on screwdrivers. I'm just saying it's not bad for the money. I've had it for years, and I really like these Carlisle screwdrivers. So now we're making progress. I don't know what this line is. Maybe some sort of a PCV. Kind of looks like it. Alright, now we're cooking with fire. If you ask me, this is overcomplicated for a freaking air filter. It's stupid. It's just, let me not start talking crap because I'm just going to start ranting at this point. Filter doesn't look too bad, guys. We're still going to put the new one in because we have it here. And yeah, she wants to get it done anyway. Here goes our brand new air filter. Everything looks good. Seems to be about the same size. And yep, pops right in. So let me go ahead and put this stupid thing back on and wrap this up. And just a quick look while I'm here. This thing might be due for a throttle body cleaning sometime soon. Of course, she's at about 100,000 miles. So yeah, it looks kind of dirty inside of there. Let me give you a quick shot of this. It's not the worst I've seen, but you can see some buildup inside of there. So just something to recommend to the owner in the future to get done. Air boxes all put back together. The next thing is this line I was telling you guys about. So you could see that bottom line right there looks all moist and wet. And if you look at the subframe down there, you can see how it's like damp. Same thing, moist and wet. So it's not really like dripping like bad or anything. It's just seeping. And that's just age, you know, stuff like this happens. So it looks like it's going to be this line right here. And it just loops around and goes to the radiator. So here goes the line right here. It's an OEM part. It's really the only place you're going to get something like this. So it doesn't look to be too bad of a job. So let's go ahead and get the old one off. So I've disconnected the line from the top right here. As you can see, that's a super easy one to get to. And I pulled the line along, disconnected the other line from it, because you can see it's got that plastic holder retainer clip down there. And I'll show it to you on the new part. It's basically these things right here. There's one also right there. So because of those plastic retainers, you almost have to remove both of the lines at the same time. So as you can see, here goes the other retainer I just showed you. And because of the way it is, this is the line that we're not replacing, but I had to go ahead and disconnect it from the radiator anyway, because it's almost impossible to get out this other line behind it without removing the one that's on top of it. So all I have to do is go to the bottom. I'm trying to remove like a little section of the bumper down there, just take off a few screws. And it looks like I should have enough access from underneath the car to get to that line from down there. Now here's something I want to show you guys. I got this tool right here from Lyle. What tool? It's the 22990. And I bought this a while ago, guys. This is for these lines right here. And to be honest, I've never had success with these things. Every time I go to use them, I can't get them to work. I've never been able to get them to work, not even once. So the whole idea behind this is it's got like a clamshell design. You can see it opens up. You put this on the line and you're supposed to push it in, and it disengages the clip, the retainer clip, so you can remove the line, which is this clip right here. And I just tried it on this car, and again, it doesn't work. So every time I go to use this tool, I've never had it work once. Kind of disappointing. So the old pick works flawlessly every single time, 60% of the time. Coming from underneath the car on the left side, all you have to do is remove this panel. It has a bunch of 7mm screws, and if you pull this down, there goes our line right there. Super easy to get to, barely an inconvenience. So let me go ahead, use the classic pick method and just disconnect that line. I got my pan down here already to collect any trans fluid that starts leaking out. As you can see, I got the line off the car and everything matches perfectly to the new one. The only thing I would say about this is It's kind of tricky, even though you get both ends of it disconnected. It's tricky trying to get it out of here because you can see how it looks like it's tangled up and everything, and it really is. So it comes out a specific way, which it's hard to explain. But basically, whatever way you remove it, just remember how it goes back in, because there's certain lines it's going to go in front of, and there's certain lines it's going to go behind. So just keep all of that in mind. As you can see, I got the new line in place. Everything has been reconnected and put back how it was. Now I just have to go ahead and torque down the nut right there. But that's going to be it. Everything went pretty smooth, not too bad of a job. I'm using my brand new snap-on ratchet. It's a 1/4 inch extra long. I've been wanting one of these forever, and I finally picked one up. Let's see what the number is. It's going to be the THLLF72. I love this little thing. I'm just reaching inside of here, 13 mil, to torque down that nut. And you don't need to kill it. All it's doing is retaining that line so it doesn't move. And that's pretty much it, guys. Everything else is all buttoned up. Everything underneath the car is put back together. Now I know what you guys are thinking. Oh, he's gonna make us wait to the very end to see if it was the stabilizer links. You know what, let's just go ahead and do the stabilizer links right now. One thing I am noticing is that, okay, right now with the front end completely lifted off the ground, basically there shouldn't be any tension on the stabilizer links, okay? And usually at this point, if I grab a stabilizer link, I should be able to twist it. I can't twist this thing. It's just like rock solid. Away or towards me, it won't budge at all. I mean, these things are just locked in place. Now I know some sway bars do have some, like what do they call it, like a pre-tension from factory. Maybe that's what's going on here, but I don't think so. I just think these stabilizer links are starting to seize up. So it looks like these are going to be 18 mils. Let's see if I can zip them off without having to hold the backside. Look at that, barely an inconvenience. Now this is kind of proving my point, because usually what would happen is when you try to remove the nut, it spins the entire joint. Now if that joint is starting to seize up, of course there's enough tension on it where I was able to remove the nut without that whole joint spinning, if that makes any sense. So you know what, at this point, since I'm moving the stabilizer link, all I could do is get a feel for the bottom one, and that feels super stiff, guys. Not even when these things are brand new do they feel that stiff. Wow. Oh, it doesn't want to move. Wow. I was right. It is the stabilizer links, all because they forgot to put on the freaking Zerk fittings. That's amazing. That bottom one feels real tight too. The only reason I can move it is because we have all this leverage, you know, grabbing it from up here. But I have no doubt that once I take off that bottom one, if we try to move the joint, how we're moving this top one just like this, we're gonna have just as hard of a time. You know, if someone didn't catch something like this, like me, if I didn't notice that the Zerk fittings are missing, what kind of rabbit hole would the customer go down replacing parts, replacing everything else? Because they're gonna say, well, no, it doesn't need stabilizer links, so the shop just replace them. Why would it need them? So I'm just coming in here with my extra long ratcheting wrench, getting from the back side. Give it the classic reach around. Okay, so the nut broke free. And just as I expected, I could spin the nut off without worrying about that stud spinning, because it's completely seized up in the joint. At least it makes removal pretty easy. And by the way, I did start up the car after doing that transmission line and confirming we don't have any leaks at any of my connections that I was messing with, so everything's good on that aspect. All right, let's get this thing out of here. This is the lower end of the stabilizer link, and I could barely move it. Ugh. It moves a little bit, but I'm pretty sure that's only because, you know, we were rotating it from up here and we were kind of breaking that bond that it had. But still, this thing is extremely stiff. Should not be like that. Yep, I'm gonna go ahead and call it. This is the real reason of the lady's noise complaint coming from the stabilizer links, the ones she just had to replace at a shop. In case you missed it, go check out the first video. So here was the stabilizer link I just took off of the car. It's the one the shop put on. Now, I was on Rock Auto's website, and what I noticed is that this car from factory came with plastic stabilizer links, like this one right here. Now, this is not a OEM part, it's a Delphi part, which I like using Delphi. They're affordable and they're good quality, so it's equivalent to the OEM type. Had they gone with a OEM equivalent part, you could see there is no Zerk fitting on these things. They are non-serviceable, non-greasable. You just put them on and that's it. They just work. Had they used the correct type of stabilizer link that belongs on this car, this lady wouldn't even be having this problem, and it wouldn't have cost her hundreds to get rid of this annoying noise, because this problem would never popped up if they would have just been using one of these. Anyway, let me go ahead and pop this side on, and we'll go remove the other side and check out that stabilizer link. I'm sure it's just as bad as this one. So this is what I was talking about earlier as far as the pre-tension on the sway bar, because I went on the front right side and disconnected the stabilizer link from it, and I still can't move the bar freely. So right at the bushings where it mounts up to the subframe, there's a tension on it, and that's just how it's designed. So let me fight to go ahead and get this joint to line up with this. So I ran into a little bit of a problem. The Delphi stabilized link that I ordered from Rock Auto doesn't fit. I had to take it back off. Basically, once you put it on the strut, it was so long that the stabilizer bar was hitting the lower control arm. And I'll show you guys a picture of where they were making contact. So I had to run out to Advanced Auto Parts, and they did have the correct part in stock. So this is the Delphi one. The one that doesn't fit, it's too long. And if we grab the Advanced Auto Parts, which is a CarQuest part, you can see how it's just slightly shorter. And guys, it doesn't look like much, but that's all it needs. And this one is going to clear. This one is not. This one is the same exact length as the bad stabilizer link that came off of this car. And one more thing before I forget. So this is a brand new stabilizer link, the one I'm about to put on the car from CarQuest. Even though the part is brand new, do you see how I could move this? Like no issues at all. Yeah, won't even budge, guys. There's your problem, lady. It only cost you $2,300 at the shop. Another tool I want to show you guys is my thin wrench set that I have from Capri. There's a few companies that make them, but you can see how thin that wrench is. And I'm using it to hold the inside of that joint so it doesn't spin as I tighten a nut on the outside. You can see how you have very little space in here, and that thin wrench is just enough. This is the set I have right here. It's pretty neat. So like it's a double donger. So like this side has 17 mil and this side is 16 mil. Super thin wrenches. You don't use these for everything. You would destroy them if you try to use them like regular wrenches. The only time I pull these out is to do stabilizer links. That's like 98% of their job. As you can see, the new part is installed, and if we look down here, it's clearing the lower control arm. It's amazing how much that less of an inch difference makes, whether a part's gonna fit or not. So we know we got the correct part, it fits. Let me go ahead, knock out the one on the front right side. Stabilizer links are all done, so now I'm moving on to the serpentine belt, and I need to get this cover out of the way. So there's a few pushing plastic like scrivets I had to pull out, and there's a few screws right here along this side of the bumper. Guys, if you don't have a cordless ratchet, get yourself one. It saves a ton of time when you're taking stuff apart like that. So for the fender liner, if I don't have to completely remove it, I won't. You can see it's just pulled back right here, and that's not going to move. It gives us the space that we need up here. Now I have to relieve the tension off of the tensioner, and I got this gear wrench tool that I like to use. It's a 3680D, and see everything it comes with. I got the other ends right here. It looks like this tensioner uses a 1/2 inch drive, so that's what I got put into the tool. You can see up there I'm already set in the tensioner. All I have to do is pull it back and remove the belt. But of course I need 2 hands for this. So I got the belt loose from down there. Hopefully you can see that the belt is just hanging. But it looks like it's trapped around the water pump and behind this freaking bracket. You know, earlier when I said, oh, I could put the air filter in because I don't think I'm going to have to come through here. Well, I might just be eating my words now, because I think all this needs to come out, and I think I have to remove this bracket. So I removed the air intake, air filter, and the engine mount. You can see right there. I have this side of the engine supported from underneath, obviously. And look at this. So this right here is the water pump, right? Look at the clearance. You're gonna sneak a belt in past that? I don't think so, guys. Yeah, I don't see no other way around this. It looks like in order to change this belt, you have to pull off this whole thing, which means I greatly underestimated quoting changing the belt for this thing. It is what it is. I already gave my quote, so I'll just get the job done. There we have it. I got the brace off. Uses 3 18 mil bolts. They're all the same exact length. And look at this, guys. With that thing out the way, stupid easy to replace this belt. It's crazy. There we go. Now let me find out I got the wrong freaking belt for this car. I'd be so pissed off right now. I got the new belt in place, as you can see. Everything looks like it's tracking well, so that's gonna be it. Let me go ahead and put all this crap back together, guys, and we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. The next clip of this car is gonna be inside the car with the car running, and we'll rock the steering wheel back and forth how we were doing at the beginning and see if we still have that noise, which I'm pretty sure we took care of it with the stabilizer links. All right, guys, so I'm done with this Buick. I have to take it out for a test drive. I'm not gonna show you guys that because I know the car is fine. But I did want to show a before and after of turning the steering wheel. Before, we could clearly hear that noise. Very quiet. So hopefully that convinces you guys that the problem is fixed. It's funny because I just talked to the owner and she's like, are you sure it's fixed this time? I'm like, I haven't test driven it yet because I'm still putting your car back together. But based off of the condition of the old stabilizer links, I am 98% sure this thing is fixed. Those stabilizer links were horrible. They were completely seized, and every time you turned the wheel, you were forcing that joint to move and it didn't want to. That's what was causing the noise. And now, nice and smooth. I know she's gonna be happy with this one. So that's gonna be it, guys. I appreciate you guys watching, and I hope that this was a adequate follow-up as far as what was causing that noise. So like always, thanks for watching.